the music's going, I'm walking to the mic, and I can't remember the lyrics of the first song.
Oh my God.
I'm turning around and I'm like looking at Neil and going, what's the first word of the lyrics? So all I see is this microphone, all I see are these people, and I'm getting closer and I'm getting closer and I'm getting closer, and I'm just going like, what's gonna happen? I don't know what to do. And so I grabbed the microphone, and all of a sudden it was like automatic pilot, just boing, the lyrics came and everything, and I did the whole show.
Welcome to the Living in the Zone podcast. I'm your host, Zone Coach Jim Fannin. I've coached champions in life, business, and sports for 50 years with a proprietary thought management system that I discovered called SCORE. Every guest on this show has been in what we call a zone state, a purposeful, calm feeling where nothing can go wrong, and you're performing at your highest level. We have an amazing guest and a good friend, Robert Fleischman. Robert is the former lead singer of the legendary rock group Journey. He's a songwriter with credits for writing multiple hit songs, including Anytime and Wheel in the Sky. Robert is still a true artist today, creating new music and even exploring the depths of being an artist, painter with galleries, presentations, Palm Beach, and Hinsdale. This show is all about creativity, being in the zone, with the legend, Robert Fleischman, right here on Living in the Zone.
Robert, welcome to Living in the Zone.
As we do.
My good friend, I am so fired up that you're on the show. You've got, what an illustrious career, what a crazy career, what a fun career. Former lead singer, Journey, that's a big deal, but you're so much more than a rocker. I want to take you, if I may, way back.
Okay.
Because you're a very right-brained, creative person. And art, you're an artist, great artist. You have paintings in galleries, one in Palm Beach, one here in Illinois. You got artwork probably all over the world in people's homes. But you write your songs, you're a singer, songwriter, just always doing things creative. When was the first conscious, I'm really creative? And when was an aha moment when somebody said, you're very creative? Did you know that I am an artist? I can draw. I can create things. Do you have any cognitive memory of the first time you realized, yeah, I like this?
Wow. That's pretty loaded question. I never really recognized myself until really later in my life. It was just...
But you were an athlete growing up.
Yeah, I was an athlete growing up.
Playing baseball?
I played baseball. I had a cousin who was 8 years older than I. So he was a very big influence with me, musically, athletically, in many, many ways. So when I was like 8 years old, my cousin lived in Gardena, and across the street they had a big field. And the field was owned by a Japanese.
This is California?
Yeah, California, in Gardena, California. They owned all this land, and they grew ivy. So they had rows and acres of ivy and long rows of ivy, and you could run through the ivy, and it was taller than me, you know. So we would play through the ivy and everything. And then they had this one side piece of property where it was just all sand. So my cousin would hit baseballs to me. and he'd just whack it, and I'd be out there running in the sand and catching these balls and everything, and then I would also hit rocks with a broom handle, tiny broom handle, hitting rocks, bam, bam. I did that all the time. So when it came time for somebody throwing a baseball at me,
come on, that's easy.
That's easy.
It's bigger.
Yeah.
The bat's bigger. That's
the
easy.
whole thing, So
Who was your idol? Did you have any idols in Major League? Was it Mickey Mantle?
I loved Willie Mays.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
What's not to like? Say hey kid. Come on.
So I had cousins that lived in San Francisco. So every summer I would go to San Francisco, and then we would go to a lot of the doubleheaders. So I'd see the St. Louis Dodgers play, Cubs playing the Giants. Got to see Willie Mays, Juan Marichal, the pitcher.
Big leg kick, Juan Marichal.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Memorable.
And I'll never forget the time I saw Sandy Koufax and Juan Marichal pitch against each other. That was amazing.
That's iconic.
Yeah.
Now, were you? Did you have a heavy sports influence, or were you? Where was the influence coming from? How were you raised? Were you influenced by women, by men?
Yeah, I was raised by by three strong women: my aunt, and my grandmother, and my mom. My mom was sort of like part-time mom, but I stayed with my grandmother, and my grandmother was from Chihuahua, Mexico. So she didn't speak too well English, but I understood her. My comprehension on Spanish is okay, but I never really spoke it because I never really
needed to,
or I never was around people who spoke it basically. But they were a big influence on me on my. Just my respect towards women. And I think my respect towards women and being brought up by them reflected my attitude with girls in elementary school and high school and later on in my life.
Were your best friends girls or boys?
My best friends were girls.
Really?
Yeah, because girls liked to read, they liked music, they liked art, movies. So I always got along with them. I just had naturally gravitated towards them. Guys, I played, baseball, football, whatever. That was great, but they were boring. They were just like
they were boring.
They were just one-dimensional.
They're just guys.
Guys, testosterone on 900, and so. That was, I think that made me made me more sensitive, a person, and more
tapped into the feminine side.
Yeah, I got a feminine side, but that's as far as that goes. But I just always have
you have
deep
a
respect.
feminine empathy.
Yeah, I have a feminine empathy. Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And that female influence really tipped the scales toward creativity for you.
Yeah.
Movies, books.
Yeah.
All using your imagination.
Yes.
Did you have a fertile imagination growing up?
Yeah.
Were you a dreamer?
I used to make up stories in my head all the time. I always thought that I could.
Hell, I still do that.
Yeah, I make up stories, just odd stories, And then when I finally got attuned to doing music, lyrics came very, very easy for me, especially just doing imagery.
So you could hear a song. And immediately the lyrics would be just downloaded in your brain? How does that work?
Well, when I write... and
you're a prolific writer.
I...
Still writing.
Let's say I've got a guitar in my hand. I can hit a couple of chords, and all of a sudden I hear this melody, and then I hear a counter melody over it, and then phonetically, it all comes into fruition. Words.
You know what I love? What you just did. As soon as you said that, you shut your eyes and went there. You just went there. I've noticed people that are so creative, they can go there in a nanosecond, and you just shut your eyes and you were playing that guitar back however young you were. What was the first instrument you ever picked up? Was it a guitar?
Piano.
Piano.
And that was really heavy, but I got it.
Grandma make you do that?
No.
No? Who made it?
No, actually.
Do you have any taskmaster at the piano?
Actually, my dad had a friend who was a podiatrist in the Valley. And my dad wanted this guy had a piano, so my dad got the piano and gave my brother and my sister lessons, and I just went up there and just played by ear and just started.
Natural.
I just started, in a couple of days I started writing, but prior to that I was in elementary school, and I had in those days in elementary school we had music. Classes. So I got into a music class, and they go. Well, they gave me a clarinet. Here's a clarinet. So everybody had to learn how to read and everything. I just had a hard time reading
music.
Music. I just didn't understand it. I get it. Plus, I was dyslexic a bit. So you go. Well, class would go. The teacher would go. Well, okay. Well, let's hear what you got to do. And everybody's going do 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 and all that stuff. So the teacher would come to me and he goes, "Okay, Robert, what do you got?" And so I go, "Well, I'm having a hard time reading these, but I can do this." So I play Moon River. I go da na 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 da 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 da. I play the whole song by ear, and he's like going like slack jawed looking.
Dang.
At me. Yeah, and I'm going, well, that's all. That's all. And it's like, okay,
Wow.
So it was all by ear, completely by ear. So you put me in a room with a tuba or whatever, I can come up with something within an hour or so, and have something for you.
That's so impressive that you had that skill growing up. What did you ever dream about what you wanted to do with that skill, or were you still dreaming about playing on the Giants with Willie Mays?
Yeah.
What did you want to do?
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
And did you care?
No, I didn't care.
Yeah, that's another thing. I like that. You didn't even care that you didn't know what you wanted to do.
Yeah. Though I would, so then my cousin, who was into the whole British invasion thing, into the Kinks, into the Stones, into the Beatles and all that stuff, 8 years older than me, turned me on to all that stuff. So I got immersed.
That was like 65, 66, 64?
No.
Earlier?
62? 63, around 63, 64. So I was totally immersed in it. I took the
long hair,
the British.
How long was your hair?
It wasn't too long. It was I was a mod.
A mod. I got it.
I'm still in the mod.
I got it.
So yeah. So
Nero jacket.
I had one of those.
You had, yeah.
I still have one too.
You do?
I still wear it once in a while.
I can't find mine. I used to have one, a Nero jacket.
Yeah. So he took me to go see the Beatles. Well, actually, I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. Like
of course,
most musicians all go, "Oh, the Beatles! That's where it started." Well,
black and white.
Yeah. So, so he took me to go see the Beatles play at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So, boom.
What an iconic place! First of all, to hear the Beatles, the acoustics are phenomenal.
Yeah,
there.
we had really good seats too. And
oh my goodness!
It was incredible screaming going on, but it was quite the pinnacle for.
Did that change you?
I don't know if it changed me, but it just it
resonated.
It resonated, and it was just such a
that's
sociological frenzy.
Yeah, most people our age, people much younger, the people we're meeting today, 20, 30, they have no concept of what it was like. It was a phenomenon unheard of.
Well,
everything changed after that.
Well, yeah, everything did change after that, and there people look at the Beatles like on the surface, but there was lots of underground stuff going on that they were being manipulated. So they used the British invasion of all these musicians. They pushed a counterculture into the United States. So yeah, the Beatles changed everything. They changed morals. They changed the drug culture, fashion, movies, the moral compass.
MTV, which now have music videos, everything.
All that, they had a big influence on everybody. I don't think they knew exactly how they were being played, but eventually they figured out they were being played.
Did you ever have a relationship with any of the Beatles?
No.
Did you ever meet them?
I met George Harrison. I saw John Lennon a couple of times.
What was that like?
What?
What was meeting them like?
I was at Leon Russell's house, and George Harrison came over, and he was with Leon, and so we were kind of like in the sides watching the whole show, but never really got to meet him and stuff. But I was kind of disappointed a little bit because of some things. But my biggest thing was meeting George Martin.
Tell me about that.
George Martin was the producer of the Beatle albums. He was the fifth Beatle. So I was around 19 years old. I had a friend who had a 4-track tape recorder, TIAC, and I wrote about 4 songs using this tape recorder. I had called up a bunch of publishing companies at one time and trying to get appointments to show my songs. So I got an appointment with Chrysalis Publishing, and so I go to Chrysalis, which is on Sunset Boulevard. Nice sunny day in Hollywood, and I get this meeting, and I hand the publisher my tape, and I'm sitting here, and he's sitting where you are, and puts the tape on, and as the tape's playing, he's like looking over my shoulder, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm not going to turn around and go look or anything like that. So anyway, after the 4th song, I turn around, and it's George Martin. And he looks at me, and he goes, "You got some good ones there, lad." And he gives me the thumbs up.
Oh, my goodness. Validation.
And so
wow.
So I get goosebumps.
Wow.
So I was just like, holy shit. So
I love it.
So I walk out. I'm going through the lobby. I open up the door. I'm hit by the sun, and I'm standing there, and I'm starting to walk towards my car, and I'm in my head, I'm just going, and even talking out loud, I'm going to be a songwriter. I'm going to be a songwriter. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a songwriter.
That was an aha moment.
It was.
That's a zone, purposeful, calm, locked in, present tense moment.
Yeah. So a couple of years later, I got invited to go to a cocktail party at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and it was George Martin's cocktail party, and he was presenting his new recording studio called Montserrat on the island of Montserrat in near Jamaica or something like that. And so I got there, the presentation and everything afterwards. I got to talk to him again. And then I met him one more time, and I brought up the story. And he said he remembered. And he goes, "Yeah, I remember that. Yeah." And so, because it was kind of hard not to remember, because the publishing, the offices there were all made of glass. There were glass walls. So everybody had a glass cubicle. And so you could look down and see everybody's. So it's kind of a memorable, setting. And so anyway, he remembered. But
it was tough back then to get your song on the radio. That was like impossible for so many artists, great artists.
Yeah, but you had to, payola.
Payola was big. Oh, yeah, payola. Yeah. You had to pay to play.
Yeah. So unless you were with a record company, you didn't get that.
And didn't the record companies take you to the cleaners? Maybe you got 7%, and they made 93%, something outrageous?
To this day.
To this day! Oh, my goodness. Self-publishing, here it is.
Yeah.
What was the first thing published?
When the first thing I got published was like Wheel in the Sky and Anytime and Winds of March. And
Wheel in the Sky. Oh, my gosh. Wheel in the Sky. That takes me way back.
Yeah.
Did I love Wheel in the Sky?
Yeah.
How did that come about, Wheel in the Sky? And did you have an aha moment creating that?
No.
How long did that take to write?
Couple of with the music and everything, and then my time comes when writing the lyrics and everything like that, and making it come into fruition. Probably took me about 45 minutes, an hour.
Oh my gosh, Robert.
Yeah. So I wrote Anytime like in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But anyway, so yeah, that was my first published.
Do you remember hearing it on the radio for the first time? Where were you when you first heard it?
I was in Westwood, in L.A., and my girlfriend, she had a 1963 SL convertible right-hand drive Mercedes. Yeah, and we had the radio on, and we're driving down Westwood Boulevard.
I think you just got back in the car just now.
Yeah, I did. And then so the radio's on, and boom, it comes on, and I'm like, wow. And we pulled over. I listened to the whole song and everything, and then I just started crying.
Oh my gosh!
And I just started crying because I don't know. I just did. And,
well, you made up your mind that I'm a songwriter.
Yeah.
And here you are. This validated everything that you believed.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
So when a song appears, where do you write it? And what's the best time of day do these songs come into your mind? Is it early morning? Is it late night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m.?
It can happen anytime.
Anytime. And anything could trigger a song.
Right.
And so Wheel in the Sky, where did that come from?
Well, when I joined Journey, everybody was giving me lyrics, give me a piece of paper practically every day, and with their lyrics or whatever. And I'd look at the lyrics, I'd go like, oh, wow, this is like stupid shit. Like here.
Next.
So this went on for a while, and I started feeling like, kind of guilty or something about, because I didn't like anything that was given to me. It didn't inspire me. It didn't click anything in my head or anything. So one day, Ross Valerie comes, the bass player of Journey, gives me a poem that his wife at the time wrote. And so I'm looking at this poem, and I'm thinking, I better do something with something, because they're gonna like get pissed off at me. So there was a line, "Wheel in the Sky," and it wasn't "The wheel in the sky keeps on turning." It was "Wheel in the sky something." And so, and then the rest of the poem, and I just went, okay, I'll take that line, and then I'll just write verses and everything, and I'll just fit that in there and put it in there, and boom, that was it.
That quick?
Yeah.
Wow. Did when you came up with those lyrics? Was there
when
music?
When we were jamming and stuff, like we'd have rehearsals, we'd jamming on this piece of music. Okay, the band Journey and I, and they'd be playing this music, and then I took that idea and I applied it on the music that was going on at that moment, and it worked just like a glove.
When you said the wheels keep on turning, did the rest of the band go, oh, whoa, wow?
I don't even, I never really thought it was going to be a big song. I never really liked even the structure of the song, because I like to write songs with a bridge, and all my songs that I write have a bridge, which is...
Explain that.
A bridge is sort of in 4 lines, encapsulating the whole idea of all the ideas of the verses and everything, and just putting it in a very simple form of the idea. I don't know, that sounds abstract, but anyway, I never really. So when they went to record it, I had the bridge, and I was going to give them the bridge, and they recorded it before I gave them the bridge. And so the song doesn't have the bridge in it. It's just what it is.
It is what it is.
All these 44 years.
When lyrics come in, does the music come in with the lyrics? Do you see it, feel it holistically, or is it piecemeal?
I used to just listen to the music and write the lyrics to the music. Now I've done the formula of writing songs. I have that in my head, so I can just sit and write lyrics out in song form.
You did a soundtrack for SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
So what was? How did that come about?
I was confronted by someone. What had happened was the guy that originally who does the SpongeBob music, he had left Nickelodeon. And I guess he wanted more money or whatever like that, and they weren't going to go for it. So they thought, well, we'll get this guy, So they brought me into the situation. I didn't have an agent at the time or anything, so I think they felt like, well, we can get this guy in a barrel, just do whatever we want, because he doesn't have any representation and da-da-da-da-da. So anyway, they gave me an episode, I guess the first episode, and I wrote music to it. I got Hawaiian guitars and ukuleles, and I was making bubble sounds and doing all the stuff, and they inserted it into the cartoon, and I got a copy of it. I come home early one morning, and I'm there with my son Austin, who's like 4 or 5 years old at the time, and I play it for him, and he thinks it's really great, and I'm going like, man, this thing could really be something, And so then about 3 weeks later comes by, and they tell me that the original guy who was doing the music, we're going to have him come back and do it, because they wanted to work with him, because who he was represented by, they had other composers on their roster that they wanted to work with also. So I was not very potent, so they just kind of dismissed me. But I came up with those bubble sounds and a lot of stuff that was, kind of ripped off in a sense. And so, that's the story on
that's
that.
Hollywood.
That's Hollywood. Happens every day, every second.
So if someone said, what are you? Are you an artist? Are you a writer? Are you a performer? Who is Robert Fleischman? Who are you?
I think I'm more of a multimedia person.
Multimedia creator.
Yeah, because
creating's been your life, hasn't it?
Yeah. I guess I love to rearrange furniture.
Wow. That's a great line. Mental furniture rearrangement.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I see something visually, I arrange it to this, and yeah, that looks cool now. Or even like music. Now that's cool now. Lyrically, rearrange it. Yeah, that's cool now. You know.
But you became the lead singer in '77. Now you're a singer.
Yeah.
And a songwriter.
Right.
What were your thoughts about being a singer and obviously one of the top entertainers in the world at that moment? Did you ever see yourself as that guy?
No.
Never.
No. I don't really care about being on stage. I like being in the laboratory. I like creating in the studio. I like creating on a canvas. I like creating visual lyrics, all that. That's where I like to play.
But you were on tour.
Yeah, I did all that stuff.
You're a rocker.
I pranced around like an idiot, you know, and I did all that, but it wasn't. I didn't want to be the seal, you know. I wasn't just like, throw me a mackerel, you know. Or people would go, you know, people ask me go up on stage and jam and stuff. I go, I don't like doing that. If I'm going to do something, it's got to be rehearsed. It's got to be just because I'm not going up there to tightrope for you.
So you not only use the right part of your brain in creativity, there's also a left side that has some self-discipline to it. You're a very self-disciplined man, aren't you? Is that a true statement?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. You like things in order?
Yeah, I'm very much in order. My house would show that. Anybody comes to my house, they go, yeah.
It's clean.
Yeah.
Eat off the floor.
As a joke, they would come to my house and move things like that.
Just to piss you off?
Just to see if I would notice. And I go, oh, right back or like
oh
this.
My goodness.
So it was like a joke to do that to me.
But I think self-discipline really.
But that's still part of arranging and putting it in its proper setting, you know. And it's in the right puzzle piece going together to make the picture.
In our score system, self-discipline's first and foremost. It's the first letter. It's what really gets you going, gets you off the mark.
Yeah, but I think it really comes down to what you like and what you don't like.
What you love and what you don't love.
Yeah.
Now, you told me a story in private, and you asked me what I thought about it from a score perspective. I want you to share this because I find it phenomenal. I also find it harrowing in terms of being on stage in a panic situation. So let's paint the picture real quick, and then, Robert, tell me what happened. You're in Soldier Field, 1977. I don't remember the month. It was in the summer.
Yeah.
Soldier Field is packed. 70,000, 80,000?
Yeah, 80, I think.
Standing room only.
Yeah.
Journey's in town, and the whole city stops for Journey. Lead singer, and you'd been traveling how many days before that stop? You'd been on a blitz.
We'd been on we were on tour for quite some time.
Months.
Yeah. We did a show at Soldier Field. Is it Soldier Field or Soldiers Field? Soldier Field. And it was with Ted Nugent, Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, Cheap Trick, and Journey. So
wow,
we
what a concert!
Yeah, it was a nice concert. And so it was our turn to get on.
But you were exhausted, weren't you, from that tour?
Nah, it wasn't exhausted, but, just kind of roll with it. So we're on, and the band is playing its first song. What would usually happen, I would be introduced to the audience after 3 songs. when I first joined Journey, Journey was a band that played 15-minute rock, jazz fusion songs. So, and then when I got into the band, everything got into song form, pop rock song form, which, 4 minutes, 5 minutes at the max or whatever songs. So they would play 3 songs and then they would introduce me, and then I would walk out on stage. And so they introduce me, I walk out on stage, and my microphone is at the end of this catwalk, which jets into the audience. And it's at the end of this cul-de-sac. So the music's going, I'm walking to the mic, and I can't remember the lyrics of the first song.
Oh my God.
And I'm turning around and I'm like looking at Neil and going, what the hell was the first word of the lyrics while I'm walking, So all I see is this microphone, all I see are these people, and I'm getting closer and I'm getting closer and I'm getting closer, and I'm just going like, what's going to happen? I don't know what to do. And so I grabbed the microphone, and all of a sudden it was like automatic pilot. Just boing, the lyrics came and everything, and I did the whole show.
That's a panic situation in front of 80,000.
Really panicky. It was very panicky. But
it shows you
I pulled it off.
Well, we always pull that off. It shows the power of the subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about that in depth, about how that happened.
Well, you have, it's like every show is you have that routine, but all of a sudden you have this glitch where, and then you find your routine and you get into the zone and you.
And was that a zone performance for you?
Yes, it was visually just incredible. The whole field was filled with people, and I would raise my hand and it would look like this, and people would mimic me and put their head, but it was just this field, of color, and just these arms jetting out like that, and looked like thousands of worms coming out of the ground. It was just. It was visually just wild, but that really stuck in my head. And then, that was that show,
What was your greatest show? Where the audience was just in the palm of your hand?
When we played Diamond Head in Hawaii, that was pretty good. When I would, in the very beginning of touring with the band, they'd play 3 songs and introduce me. Those people didn't have any idea that I was going to be on the show, and being introduced as a new lead singer and all that stuff. So, in the very beginning, like when I come out, people would just be going like, you, flipping me off, like whole row, just like you, they just die
really
hard.
Oh yeah. My gosh!
So I had to endure that through 2 songs, and then finally I got accepted, to this new format, whatever. I don't know if I got truly accepted, but the yous didn't come, readily, So
that's a terrifying experience.
It was every night.
Every night.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to put up with this every night. I had these people flipping me off and doing it, and then I'd have to win them over. So that was it.
Now, were you married at the time?
No.
No. Dating?
No.
How do you have a relationship being a rocker? How's that possible to be married?
Be careful.
Be very, very careful. Oh my goodness!
And so I had to live like a nun because I was always worried about my voice. I couldn't be in air-conditioned hotels. I'd have to turn off the air conditioning. I'd have to take hot showers and everything. And I had to live like a nun.
Honey.
Yeah, just live like a nun while everybody else was having lots of fun and all that stuff. Because I was worried, because I'm always constantly worried about not performing. And if I didn't perform the way with my head was telling me to perform, or my voice, I'd be just so bummed out that I'd just sick.
Optimism is at the center of the word SCORE. It's a belief system that we all have, and it's the glue that holds us together. If you look back on your career, have you seen how your optimism elevated, got into the high, low of confidence, optimism, umbrella for confidence, belief, expectancy?
Well, all that stuff is...
How was your confidence back then?
It was very... It was high, but when I was really young, too, I really believed in projection, like seeing yourself somewhere. And I used to have dreams where I would see myself on stage, even though I wasn't even thinking about being on stage at that time in my life. And I would see myself on stage.
That's visualization.
Exactly.
Wow.
So...
when you saw it, did you see it through your own eyes, or like you're up above looking down on a movie set? How'd you see it?
As a spectator.
As a spectator seeing yourself?
Yeah, like third person.
Yeah, typically from the right side, the creative side, looking down on a movie set?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I always thought the third person perspective is probably the hardest thing to do. The third person perspective is, you're the person watching two people play chess, and they're making their moves, but you see all these moves that they could make.
That's a visionary.
And so to apply that to your own life and putting whatever situation is that you have in front of you, instead of being immersed in it, you try to walk out of it and try to see it as a third person, so that you can manipulate the right outcome.
80-some% of the Earth, 8 billion of us, see our vision through our own eyes. Only 12, 13, 14% see it like this. They're both impactful, but the one that you're talking about is not normal for most people. But I see it as highly impactful, definitely. And have you had those type of visions on every new thing that you've done?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes.
You have a lot of new projects because you are an artist. You have some amazing artwork. We're going to show that. And you're in some galleries right now. What inspires you to create? Because your works are multimedia works. They're not normal. It's not like you're arting and drawing in some one medium. I mean, you're using multi-mediums to do that.
Right.
Do you know where you're going when you're creating, or do you have a place in mind that you're trying to emulate?
Well, like in painting, I would think of 3 colors that I'd like to work with.
Wow, that's interesting.
And so then I would go to the studio, and I'd grab those 3 colors. And then I would just improv.
Spontaneity.
Just spontaneity. And then I'd find another color that would complement that color. And then another color that complements that. And another one. And then all of a sudden you have this colorful...
Just like the wheel, you had
Yeah.
one little nugget, and then you embellished, and
Exactly.
now you got 3 colors.
Exactly.
Has that been a process consistent in your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and so when I was, I guess, how old was I when Sgt. Pepper came out, and I saw that album cover, and I lived with that album cover for a while, looking at it. I thought I can do that. So then I started cutting out stuff and doing collage at 13, 14 years old. I was doing stuff like that, and I'd give them to my girlfriend or show them to my friends or whatever. And I still have the very first collage I ever did, and so I've always done collage and painting ever since I was 13, and then later on I got into music. And so what happened was all my life I've just danced between art and music, just ping pong.
I want to change gears. When was your first love?
My first love was probably when I was around 13.
Head over heels?
Yeah, and we were together throughout elementary school to when we were juniors. Then we didn't see each other for quite some time. Then we got back together when we were in our 20s.
Oh, my goodness.
And then we're with each other for quite some time. And then we eventually broke up.
That's a long relationship.
And she became a very well-known audio engineer. First, like a handful of women engineers in the music industry. There's only like these 5 women were like the nucleus of the feminine
Audio
movement, and she's one of them. She worked on Asia with Steely Dan. She worked with on Breakfast in America with Supertramp. She worked with Michael Chapman, who did all the Blondie albums and all that stuff. She was all into that whole thing. My friend was Roger Lynn, who invented the Lynn drum machine, and so Roger was working with Leon Russell, and so I would go to Leon Russell's house, and Roger and I, when Leon wasn't recording, we would use the studio and record. So I had my girlfriend. Her name was Lenice Bent, and she would, she would be the engineer for us. Just hit record. She hit the recording and all that stuff. So then she went to school for engineering, and then my friend Roger tutored her also. But yeah, so she came on the ride too,
So you mentioned you have 2 children.
Yeah.
And tell me about
my son Austin. He works for Intuitive Surgical, which is the Da Vinci surgical robot, which is a robot that doctor could be in Los Angeles and operate on somebody in New York.
Oh my goodness!
And I had a hernia operation, and the doctor goes, "Do you mind if we use the Da Vinci surgical robot?" I'm going, "Yeah, go ahead. That's my son works on that."
That's fascinating.
So the Da Vinci now has a new generation, and that's what my son has been working on for quite some time, and it just got the FDA approved it, so it's going to be
here to
out
stay.
now. It's here to stay. So that's what he does. He engineer minded. I think he has my talent creatively, but he applies it instead of music. He applies it in that format.
And you have a daughter?
And I have a daughter.
Single dad. That's not easy.
Yeah. Michelle, my wife, died of cancer 4 years ago. And my daughter, who's going to be 17 this Friday, her and I have been together, going through this
tough Tough time.
Yeah, the big waves, on the ocean. Going through that, life is a lot more smooth sailing, especially with her. She's
and Michelle was your number one fan.
Michelle was the most empowering woman I ever encountered. She was just the most incredible, supportive person. She lived in the UP, I guess, Iron Mountain up in Michigan. Lived in a town like 600 people. Had to get out of there, so she joined the Army, the Desert Storm. She got into the medical division. Later on, she moved to California. She was a geologist. She graduated from Dominguez Hills University College or whatever. She sailed boats from Fiji to Hawaii, from Hawaii to San Francisco. She was a sharpshooter.
Sounds like you married a rock star.
Yeah, she was. And she was very mechanical minded. One of the first times when I was dating her, I came to her apartment and I knock on the door and she goes, "Come on in." I walk in and she's on the floor and there is a computer completely dismantled around her. And I'm going like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Oh, I'm just putting in a new hard drive."
Oh my goodness!
And I'm like, in my back of my head, I'm going, "That's the girl for me."
I need her on my team.
So she taught me how to use a computer and all that stuff and all that. But and then she was a physical therapist also, and she had her own business and all that. And then
she inspired you.
Yeah, she totally inspired me and empowered me. I've told you this before. She was like, bread maker, make bread. What do you need to make bread? You need an oven, you need this, you need that. Go buy it to make bread. So that was her whole mentality. I'd been in a relationship before, and it was like, I got to go and record. You can't do that. You're going to spend all that money and da-da-da-da-da, and could you do that? And what's going to happen? And I'm like, that's what I do. You can't. No, you should just be a graphic artist. Go to school and be a graphic artist, and have a 9-to-5 job and da-da. No,
what?
What? No, I don't think so. So that didn't go all too well for some time, but life goes on, and if you're lucky, you find somebody like Michelle. Like you and Cece, and you just have this incredible romance of a full spectrum relationship.
I think there's nothing better than two people being in a zone. You're both disciplined and focused.
And she was an entrepreneur too.
Yeah, that helps.
She had that.
And
whole,
you've been an entrepreneur all
my
your
life. Yeah, by the seat of my pants. But. Yeah, so I just really rearranging your furniture. So she, when she passed on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my goodness!
At 12 o'clock, and she was going in. We had her hospice at the house. So I opened up the windows and we have these, there was 2 churches by our house. And for some reason, both those church bells of both just went on ringing.
Wow.
Yeah. And she passed away. Right
during that,
at 12 o'clock sharp, the bells start ringing. She went. It was in my arms. It was like a movie. It was a movie, truly a movie.
Robert, I think your whole life's been a movie.
So, I would sit in this chair, holding her hand every day. I'd sit in that chair. And then when she passed away, before she passed away, she goes, I want you to move. I got 6 houses that I want you to look at. I want you to call Beth, our friend, realtor, call and look at these houses. Every house that she picked out for me had a body of water next to it. There was one house that had a little pond in the back. One house had a little creek going by it. Another house had these houses around this man-made lake, whatever. I go to the last house. This house is right on Lake Michigan. So I look at it with the realtor, and I'm going like, this is really cool, you know. So I go home, make some dinner. I think, I'm going to go back there and walk around there. You know, it's like 7 o'clock at night or something, 7:30. And so I get out of the car and I start walking, and like, you know, right on the right-hand side of me is Lake Michigan. And I'm walking and I go down this hill which goes down to the beach, and I'm walking and I'm just going, God, this is really therapeutic. You know, just the sound of water and everything. So I'm walking back up to go to my car, and I look at the address, or look at the street sign. It says Michigan Boulevard. Michelle, M-I-C-H.
Oh my goodness!
I look at the house numbers, 2720. Added it all up. Yeah, the day that was her age. My numbers in numerology are five bedrooms. It was like all these signs were just boink, boink, boink.
By this house.
I get home, I call up, I'm taking the house. I'll take it. So I bought the house cash. Boom. End of story. So go to a dinner party. You know, Mancow, all our friends, you know, people that you know, the Solendingers and all that. So we're there. You got to do another album. You got to do another album. And I go, 6 years. I've just been painting for 6 years, just because I was just completely sick and tired of the template of music. And what I mean by that is I'm sick and tired of. Okay, so I go home after the dinner, go home, sit on the couch, grab the guitar, plunk it, and I just go, I'm over this. I can't do this anymore and make another record with a guitar. You know, that same sound, same template. You know, you listen to the radio, everything guitar. You go to a bar, everything guitar. Well, in the early 80s, when electronic music was still in its infancy, I got into electronic music. I got into Moog synthesizers and ARPs and Oberheim synthesizers. When I was very young, I used to hitchhike from Torrance to Santa Monica to go to Oberheim, where they made Oberheim synthesizers, and they had an old bicycle shop. And so and they were assembling the synthesizers there. And so I would go in there, and just this kid off the street, and they would, you know, I'd go there like a couple of times a week. And so then they go, oh, you want to solder? And I go, oh, yeah. So I start soldering and stuff like that. And I got interested in it. So then, you know, life goes by, and you know, synthesizers are very expensive, and I don't know anybody really has one or all that. But then later on, I run into somebody. I run into this guy named Paul Beaver. And Beaver and Klaus were like the first people to introduce the Moog synthesizer to the Beatles. So I got to be friends with Beaver, and he had a house in downtown Los Angeles, and then he had this like a barn and behind his house, which he had all his synthesizers and all the stuff, and he was corresponding with Robert Moog and all that. And so, you know, I'd hear him on the phone with Robert Moog and stuff like that. And so anyway, I'd just been around these synthesizers, and then Leon Russell had an ARP, and he used to let me play with the ARP, you know, for hours if I wanted to. And so I always had these synthesizers in like a back catalog in my life. And so I come home from the dinner, and I plunk on the guitar, and I'm just going, I'm over it, and I think I'm going to do go back and into synthesizers. So in the early '80s, I did an album, actually. Where is it? Called Electric Raindrops, and this is all like an ambient album. So this was at the very early stage of.
It's a big deal now, ambient music.
Yeah, very, very beginning of ambient music. And so I thought, I'm going to revisit this. And I've always wanted to I always wish I had put lyrics and melody and sang over this stuff. So I thought, that's what I'm going to do.
And you've been working on this project for how long now?
3 years.
3 years.
So I decide that's what I'm going to do. So I buy all this synthesizer gear and everything, and I got this room in my house, and I got it all set up, and I'm ready to go. And now I need a chair to sit in. And I grabbed the chair that I sat in.
Oh my goodness!
With Michelle.
With Michelle.
And the whole album
came together,
and it was completely like channeled. I was channeled.
So now this album's finished?
Yeah.
Ready to be sold?
Well, not yet.
Tell me, how do we get to hear the sounds?
In about hopefully within 2 months' time, it will be here.
And I think you sent me one song, right?
Right.
It's awesome. It's
Name
good.
of the Game.
It's I could use that as a soundtrack in my life. Name of the Game.
Yeah.
I loved it. But what's the name of the?
The name of the album is called Emotional Atlas.
Emotional Atlas. Boy, do I like that. That's big.
Yeah, because it's a map of emotions. And that's my map of emotions, my emotional atlas.
From the chair. That was emotional.
Yeah.
Now, and when does this come out?
Hopefully it'll come out in September. Right now, I'm waiting for the vinyl pressing to be sent to me, the test pressing to be sent to me so I can listen to it. And if it's exactly the way I want it, then I'll pull the trigger and then we'll start manufacturing. It's a double album because it couldn't get all the music on one disc. It's the most adventurous thing I've ever done. I took the whole approach of making music this time with a painter's hat on. There are songs on there that have no real chord structure to it, song chord structure. It's a lot of, I would start off with a drone, like a...
So it's got an emotional tapestry through it, though.
Yeah, so, and then I would layer another drone on it, and another drone on it. And these drones are oscillating harmonics as you listen to it. And I'm hearing these harmonics, and I'm following...
Different megahertz?
Yeah, just this sound landscape just moving, you know? And so I put on the headphones, put on the mic, and I just, whatever on the top of my head comes out, and I'm following this harmonics, and I'm making up lyrics as we go on and everything. And because the way that I'm singing it and the way that I'm, my template of writing songs, it's like, you know, the verse, B section, chorus, you know, second verse, B section, chorus, bridge, bridge, then the solo, then the B section, chorus out. That's just how my mind maps out everything. And I write in those boxes. And I just write in those boxes and I just apply it on top of it, and boom, it sounds like there's chord structure, but there isn't chord structure. The only thing that's chord structure wise is just the structure of the music verses. We're
definitely looking forward to hearing this. Again, the one song that I heard that you were so kind to sent to me it's really powerful. It's very motivating.
Yeah.
It makes me want to do something
Right.
when I'm listening to
Right.
it. Makes me want to move. When you get into a zone state, 3 years in a zone state, putting this big project, double album, do you take a break now? Do you turn your brain off, or what? Or have you already launched into what's next for Robert Fleischman?
Yeah, I've already kind of launched what I think I might want to do next. But the thing is I would have like a month, 2 months, and I'd be sitting in my room, and all the equipment be sitting there, and I just couldn't get up to go turn it on, and so I get nervous about it. I got to write. I'm supposed to be writing now. I can't just waste time of another day go by and nothing going on.
Or a month?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm kind of flipping out, And so then all of a sudden, I get up, sit in the chair, turn it on, boom, I write 3 great songs.
Well, just like you did at Soldier Field, walking out, putting your hand on the mic, and there it is.
Boom.
Yeah, the zone's like that. It can come in so many different ways, but
Yeah.
you've been a zoniac. You're definitely disciplined. You're one of the more disciplined, right-brain, creative people that I've met in my career. You know how to focus. Well, no. Listen, I love spontaneity, and you do have that. Yeah. But there is a method to the madness of you, which I love.
And it's kind of weird. I mean, sometimes you feel guilty that you're not doing it. I don't understand that part. I go, why should I feel guilty?
Well, I think creativity.
But I guess the guilt is like building up the pressure cooker.
Well, it is, and I think creativity needs silence.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
you need some silence in your life to clear out all the stuff that doesn't matter. Yeah, so that you can rise to the occasion.
Yeah, the dust needs to settle.
It does.
Settle, and then you look at the dust and you go, "Oh, I think I can rearrange that dust into this."
You're a definite rearranger. You're rearranging my sheets, my notes. I'm looking down and you're turning my note sheet around. I love it, Robert. It's such a blessing, really, to have you on the show.
Thanks
Living
for
in the
having me
zone,
on.
it means a lot to me. I've been living my life in the zone. You're a lifelong zoniac, and now you're an official score system zoniac, someone that gets into the zone at the right time and right place. I'm looking forward to everything you're going to create in the future.
Thank you.
Your paintings, your artwork. You can check your artwork actually at Fine Arts.
Yeah, I have in Hinsdale in Illinois.
Acquisition Fine Arts.
Yeah, Acquisition Fine Arts Gallery. I have my art hanging there, and also in Palm Beach, Acquisition Fine Arts Gallery, and I'm gonna give you and Cece this collage that I did.
Oh my goodness!
So
wow,
there's that. This is my favorite out of all of them.
The sky.
Yeah, the sky. That was a project that I put together when I lived in Richmond, Virginia, before I moved to Wisconsin.
I love that. This.
Then that's the ambient album that I worked on in the early '80s. And that's the first Sky album.
Boomerang, Drowning Man. Interesting song titles. I love it. And this?
That is a acoustic and cellos.
Acoustics and cellos.
Yeah, acoustic guitars and cellos. And that's a pop album that I did.
Well, you're very creative, very talented.
Thanks.
And I can't wait to see what's next. We'll find out in the fall. We can't wait to get your album, double album.
Yeah.
And you have to come back. And I know you and I'll be hanging out anyway.
Oh, yeah, we will.
We will. You're such a good friend. I'm so glad you're on the show.
Really pleasure seeing you.
Robert, you're the best.
Thank you so much. You are too. I love you.
Thanks for watching or listening to Living in the Zone podcast. Make sure that you subscribe so you can be up to date on all of our information and content. Go to zonecoach.com where you're going to learn more on how we can help you live your life, business, or sport in the zone.